pleased to have in studio with us, fresh off the practice field, your left guard, Connor McGovern, joining us. Good to have you with us, Connor. Good to see you.
Nice. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Nice and sweaty I am.
Yeah, well, that's fine, man. Hey, you're putting the work in. We're never going to argue with that. 2 games in a Bills uniform in the regular season.
Yes.
And last week was fantastic. But how do you feel like you've acclimated? Because, you know, when you're making that kind of a change as an offensive lineman, I mean, it's nice to have veterans on either side of you, you know, in Dion and Mitch. But still, there's an acclimation period.
Yeah, building
there.
that chemistry,
Yeah.
definitely. So
how is that?
Like during the offseason, we got really close, but just getting the live action, and that's where you really start building. We had a week 1, and luckily we had a quick week. Not great for the body, but just helping us grow, feel just being more and more comfortable with each other, just learning how each other plays. We got all the communication down. That's what this offseason is for, and just feeling comfortable, I would say, is the main thing.
Fans always watch the game, and everybody's talking about the efficiency of the offense. I mean, we were talking just before we came on that 15-play drive, 9 minutes off.
Yeah.
Do you guys? Is that the only way you kind of feel the difference in what it looks like? You guys are down there in the trenches. I mean, you got your heads down, and of course you feel a 15-play drive rather than a 3-play drive. But what do you guys notice about the way this offense clicked on Sunday as opposed to that week 1?
I would say definitely just being able to establish that run game early, just eat up the clock when I think we had like 40 minutes we had the ball.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say what really broke their defense was that long drive to start off the second quarter. Like we came out the last
half,
the last drive of the first half, we scored, came out, got the ball, took down 9 minutes, and that broke their will, I think, right there. And then we were able, that last drive was on the 5-yard line. We started and marched right down the field, 95 yards, and scored, and that was the game.
It's not like Josh wasn't under center in week 1, but he seemed to be under center a little bit more last week. And I'm curious, not that you have a choice in the matter, but when he's under center and he's turning around and, you know, whether it's play action or whether he is handing it off, you guys get to fire off the ball. I got to believe you like that.
I always love having my hand down in the dirt, just being able to get off. You saw on the goal line, just coming straight off. That's my personal favorite, but hey, however he wants to be back there, we'll do it.
Yeah, and you've got to know too. When you look at this group and start getting ready for the Commanders, they got a bunch of dudes. They got some guys up front.
Yeah,
well, he's seen a lot of them.
I've seen him playing the past 4 years, twice a year. So giving some insight to a lot of the guys how they like to play. They're very sound front seven. They're all first-round picks. They're all great players on their own. And it's just about winning your one-on-one this week, pretty much, because that's how they want to just set everyone up one-on-one and try to beat you like that and let their guys play man. So we just got to take it to them.
Right.
Talk to me about that, though, Connor, because when you have a working knowledge, I mean, because they've been there for a little while. You were in Dallas for a little while. You're playing them twice a year. So, you know, you probably feel like you've got a pretty good bead, you know, on how Jonathan Allen plays or how Daron Payne plays. And, you know, you're talking about lending some of that to the guys in your room. I'm not saying you would study less this week necessarily, but you have a jumping off point. So how much easier does that make your week?
That definitely makes my week a little bit easier. Like, again, still watching the same amount of film, but I'm able to adjust. Like, all right, I know how this guy's going to play it this way. Like, I know for run outside zone, he's going to try counter this way or whatnot. Like, start going to a fresh new mindset. Like, I know their baselines, and I'm able to help, like, Osiris, like, how he's going to set Daron Payne. Like, I know how, like, tips he's going to need. Or just helping Mitch or Dion or Spencer, like, how they need to set their guys, how they want to establish, like, their run game, or just how they want to rush the ball, too.
Yeah, this last game, what did you think of the Bills home opener? You hadn't played in a home opener.
No, and that was my first ever game in Highmark Stadium, too.
Oh, yeah.
I would say that was electric. I wasn't sure how it was going to be, like, stadium-wise. Everyone says it's this great, crazy atmosphere, and seeing it firsthand, I was blown away. And especially how loud it was, too. I was not ready for it.
Free agency was a new thing for you this offseason, but you didn't have to wait around and wonder very long. I mean, you were a quick signing. My question to you, though, is, you know, you got Ryan Bates here, another Penn State guy. How much did you kind of reach out to him to get a feel for what it's like here before you made your decision? Did you talk to Batesy much or no?
Well, we still talked off and on. I was actually in Hawaii right before
free agency?
Free agency hit. We're actually on the plane. Me and my wife were on the plane ride back, and when we came back, and my agent laid out a couple offers for me, and that's when I picked it. Literally just had me in Hawaii, and I was like, I haven't talked to Ryan in a few weeks, so I was like, just hit him up with how his offseason and all that's going. And then literally, I don't know, maybe the next day, my agent told me, he's like, "Oh, you have a couple interests," and all that going on. And one's Buffalo. I'm like, "Oh, that's really weird." Like, then just asked Ryan a couple questions, what I thought. And then next thing you know, that I think it was the Monday rolls around, sign here, and he was the first person I called.
Oh, cool.
He's like, I was getting a lot of questions about you. It's just the way everything timed out. It's just I happened to reach out and just to see how he was, and one thing led to another.
That's cool.
Yeah, Bills fans are always wondering about how when guys come from other teams, what they think about this city. We were talking in the break. For you, this is kind of like moving back to what you really know.
Yes.
From Scranton, and your family's from from Pittsburgh. Your wife's family's from Pittsburgh. It's been a really nice transition for you.
Yes, I would say so. Like, me and my wife love the slower way of life. We're both from small towns in Pennsylvania, so this just feels more like home to us.
Yeah. And our owner, Terry Pagula, is a Penn State alum as well. So in the maybe brief times that you've been around him, I'm sure Penn State has come up.
Oh, yes, definitely the first time talking about Penn State, and then covering everything back home. So always just going on either about back home, my high school playing his high school, or just talking about Penn State. Usually the two things we talk about.
Yeah.
So you've been here for a whole off season. You kind of acclimated through an entire training camp. You see the teams take shape. Give us your thoughts about 17 back there. You saw and you heard the stuff about, man, he struggled in week 1, but then he came out and it was a completely different dude in week 2. What are your thoughts on put his performance in perspective?
I would say the biggest thing I took away from last week, I would say we weren't up to our standard week 1. No one was. But just the way he kept the entire team just level-headed, how he went about his business the same way, kept everyone on the same page, and we came out firing like how we should have in week 2. And I just commend him for how he took leadership of everything and got the ball rolling.
So with Washington, beyond that defensive front, which gets all the headlines, and we understand why, they're all former first-round picks, yada, yada, yada. Is there any other thing that really kind of sticks out to you about their defensive unit, having seen them as much as you have?
I would say the way they play overall, they don't give up. You saw past 2 weeks, what were they down both games, and they came back and won. It doesn't matter how much they're down, they're always in the game. I remember 2 years ago, we were up 30 on them, and all the way to the last snap, they were still getting the same rush every single time. It doesn't matter if they're up by 40, down by 40, they're not giving up. So I commend them for that. But
playing the same way throughout. Okay.
Connor, thanks for coming in. Appreciate you, man. It's good to see you. We had you in right after you signed, and it's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you guys
all
too.
Acclimated.